Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host Zoe with my co-host on the other side, Cantu. How's it going, dude?
It's going good. How they do is, just got done eating dinner. We're on a healthy binge again. My wife and I are trying to stay consistent this time.
We're starting back on that diet. I see. Okay,
Absolutely.
what was today's dinner?
Chicken salad. Chicken salad with
Was it
the
like
serving.
fat-free mayonnaise?
No, we did the serving size for some. If you go to HEB, they have this cilantro cotija salad dressing. Pretty good. Pretty good
Sounds good.
day. Some chicken. But yeah, it's been good so far. We've been doing a little bit more exercise as well. I was saying off air yesterday was my legs felt like concrete at the end of the day because I ran, then played pickleball and volleyball consecutively, and it was fun. But I I sometimes forget our bodies are very old now. So
They're not like back in our primes when we were in high
yeah,
school. But you should be an athlete. Don't you play Sunday ball?
I do, but I haven't been going because I've been having things to do in the weekend or it rains and it just hasn't been working out. But this week we got it down on Father's Day. Oh, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I really want to.
Yeah, it'll be Father's Day pretty soon. If you're listening to this episode, it is on June 12th, Wednesday. Titled this episode is episode 186. A giant loss for the Astros because the Astros had opportunities, I say, not just in this series, but in the last series. We're not going to talk about the last series, but it started off in the beginning of this series. They had the opportunity to win that game, and it could have been a win series for them, and they didn't get it, nothing accomplished. Record is 31 and 38, and they finished on the road at a 500 winning percentage, 3-3. But honestly, it should have been 5-1.
Yeah.
That last game against the Angels should have been a sweep on them, and then, like I said, that first game against the Giants, which we'll break down here later on the show, could have capitalized with that win right there. You get game two, you win that. Next thing you know, you win the series with Logan Webb pitching game three and Framber Valdez, which Framber Valdez did not have his stuff in the last game of that finale. But we'll recap the Giants series. Like we said, Astro bullpen woes continue to close out games. We're not going to specifically talk about the bullpen itself. It's just the Astros, whenever they put the pitchers on to close a game, they just cannot capitalize for some reason. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Who's invited to the Carne Asada, like always, pitching preview against the Detroit Tigers, news from the train station, and around the horn because college baseball World Series is here, Angel. Friday is going to start,
Yeah.
and our Aggies are taking on the Gators, which isn't. It's going to be a SEC versus ACC matchups in this whole World Series. I wonder if it's going to be
It's
SEC
crazy.
versus SEC in the championship game, or is it going to be ACC versus ACC? So just shows in baseball, I guess it goes through one of those conferences.
Yeah, I was also seeing a graphic earlier where the Atlanta Braves are the only team in a close proximity radius to three of the college baseball teams. Like Tennessee doesn't have a major league team, South Carolina either. So I guess it just goes to show that they need one over there too.
I think Nashville's up for expansion. They
Yeah.
they have to they have to build over there for Nashville because I think it's going to be between them. Salt Lake City, Utah is another one.
Say maybe North Carolina needs one too.
Oh, Charlotte too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Charlotte, North Carolina. That'd be good. So I know them three at least would be for expansion teams on the horizon. But if I had to choose between them three, I'm choosing Nashville. I've been wanting to go Nashville too, but I've heard it's so expensive to go
The
out there.
Music City, yeah. Don't they have the Elvis Presley Museum over there too?
Dude, they got from that country bars as well. I think who a country singer uh can't think of her name. My wife knows, but I forgot her name. She just recently opened one. Morgan Wallen recently opened one as well. Lainey Wilson, there it is.
Oh, Lenny was okay.
She just opened one of
Wait,
her
she has a
bars.
museum over there.
No,
Oh, bars, a
bar,
bar. Okay,
bar.
that makes sense. Okay,
No, Elvis Presley, I think, is the museum over there. I think
yeah.
Dukes of Hazard is another thing out there as well. But I had to see.
I need to go make a trip. I need to go make a trip for sure.
Definitely. But let's recap that Giants series, and we'll start off on a positive note. Starting pitching once again, once again, just doing dominant things in this series. You go from the first 1-2 starters of the Angel series. Same thing happened here in the Giants. Spencer Arrighetti, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run. 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. He did throw 99 pitches, tying his career high, and throwing 61 of them being strikes. The only mistake in this outing for him, Angel, besides the 3 walks, was that hanging curveball to Mike Yastrzemski. I don't know if you saw that. That
Hmm.
ball was a hanger. It was a 1 or 2 count against Yastrzemski, and he just left it right there. And Mike just hit it all the way to like the deepest part of the field too. Um, I think it was like over there by 415 in right center. But other than that, dude, I mean, cutter, the fastball, the curveball, all the command was working really well into his favor. The only thing I would have to say about that outing is just that breaking ball that was just hanging right there and just clean up the walks because he's been doing really well for the Astros in these last couple starts.
Yeah, and I believe when he did allow that home run, I think he went out the game plan as well. I think it was just that one pitch. He felt confident in it, just didn't execute it basically. But yeah, I mean, he's looked better and better, like we've been preaching, better and better every day. He's had to step up like he's been doing so far to help this rotation out. But yeah, I think the future's bright for Spencer Arrighetti, and these few starts come to show it.
Definitely in his last 6 starts too. We didn't even get this stat out. Has gone 3-1 record, 3.19 ERA. Has thrown 36 strikeouts, only given up 11 earned runs through 31 innings pitched in those starts. So that's a great number, great sign to see. Because if you remember in the beginning of his debut and first 2-3 games, he was not pitching like the number one pitching prospect in that farm system. And then all of a sudden, like we talked to him, if you go our social, we chit chatted with him, and the biggest thing for him has been his confidence, and it just shows right there when you have confidence on that mound, especially going against teams like the Braves, the Cleveland Guardians, the Seattle Mariners. It just shows that it's going to continue rising high in each and every start that he goes through. But another pitcher too that's been kind of like the Astros ace this whole season, I would have to say, is Ronel Blanco.
Yeah.
That last start we talked about, he gave up 4 earned runs. Even the previous start before that, he gave up 4 earned runs. So we're trying to see what was going to look like coming into this game against the Giants. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. That is the Ronel Blanco I think Astro fans knew all along. El Cambio was working through 96 pitches. 57 of them were strikes. Like I said, bounce back start for him. It's a great thing to see. He throws his 7th quality start as well, and it leads the team in that category. So, like we were saying, I just said right now, he's been really established into that ace role this season as the Astros' number one guy. Even bouncing back from a start like that against the Cardinals in his last start. But Ronel Blanco, if he continues trending to this right direction, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his first All-Star bid in his career.
Yeah, he basically said he's not fatigued at all. Like he came back pretty fastball dominant in this start. 51 fastballs is what he threw. 25 sliders, only 12 changeups and a curveball. So that's the adjusting part. Like the first few outings that Ronaldo Blanco has, that he's been changeup heavy, right? Kind of mixing in that fastball changeup mix, getting guys off guard. But again, these are major league hitters. They like I kind of I touched on it a little bit where he said that they've seen these guys on film now. Ronaldo Blanco, they have a kind of idea what Ronaldo Blanco is going to do, and you got to adjust. So, kind of this like focusing more on the fastball location really seemed to help, especially in a hitter friendly park like uh, Oracle Park, I believe, right?
Oracle Park,
Yeah,
yes.
Oracle Park. So he kind of used that to his advantage, and it paid off for him.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about like you're saying right now with the splits of each pitch, fastball dominant, and then throwing that. You said slider or curveball. I want to say.
Slider 25 times, and then changeup 12, curveball 8.
So you see, just being able to make an adjustment like that, like in the beginning of the season, and he just developed that pitch in spring training, the changeup, and he's been working for him. Obviously, like you're saying, these guys are major league hitters. Scouting reports are going to be different. Teams are going to be looking at how to attack Blanco like they did in the other 2 starts, but being able to do that and locate your pitches correctly in the right way, you got a defense that's right behind you too to help you out. And sure enough, I mean, this start right here just showed that he's capable of doing that as well.
Surprisingly, the slider is his second most thrown pitch thus far. So forcing fastball obviously, and slider changeup, and then he mixes in the curveball every now and then.
Yeah, so it was good to see him get back on track because in the last 2 starts, excuse me, if you total them 2 runs, them 2 starts together, it was a total of 8 runs. And that hasn't been done in a month span of 5 starts in the previous times he's pitched. So it's good to see him get back on track and make that adjustment as a major league starter.
And he limited the walks too, just one walk, 4 hits. I mean, that's a pretty good outing for sure.
Definitely. And then another guy that had a good outing as well, coming from the bullpen, is Ryan Presley. Press bounced back from the last previous start, one inning pitch, no hits, no walks, and he did have 2 strikeouts. This outing from him and this appearance from the bullpen, he looked fabulous. 15 pitches, 10 of them were strikes. Great command on his off speeds between the curveball and the slider, because that's been a big deal for him this season. Is that slider? It's been hanging a little bit more. It's been in the upper part of the strike zone, but in this outing, getting that save as well. I think that was his second save of the season. I don't know for him if he needs to be in that closer role some of the time, or I mean, it's a familiarity that he's been with for a good while being in the Astros uniform.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he closed out the game for the Astros. I'm sure Astros fans are happy about that, but that's going to be Josh Hader's position.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only time that Presley will come and save games is like the reason why he came in this series, because Josh Hader wasn't available. So, I mean, and the thing is, Presley has been so great in the past that it's like that's like having an ace up your sleeve, right? If Josh Hader's not available, well, you have your next best closer, right? But I think this is more like a confidence boost for Presley. I'm not going to say like he hasn't pitched. No, he hasn't pitched well, but again, just like a batter, a bloop can change your out like your fate. So can one good outing, and maybe this 15 pitch outing, we allow no hits, no walks, and 2 strikeouts could really go a long way in changing the dynamic of the season. Maybe this is a start where he gets a little more confident, and maybe he just won trust from Joe Espada as well, that, hey, I know what this guy can do. Maybe that leash is extended a little bit more in that eighth spot, just because he did such a great outing. Again, baseball's all a game about confidence. It's a mental aspect. All it takes is one good swing, one good pitching outing to kind of turn the season around.
Yeah, we'll talk about mental here in a minute on the bullpen, because we'll have a question for you about that later on. But for Presley too, like you're saying, some of these outings that he's came out of the bullpen has been some bad luck. It's just a little bloop here, some defensive miscues as well has happened for him. But in the last prior to this one,
yeah,
I mean, he was hit pretty hard, and we'll talk about here in a minute. But let's real quick finish the recap of this series. Yordan Alvarez, I guess the month just continues for the big man. 4 for 13 in this series. 1 double, 1 triple, 1 home run, 2 RBIs. I was shocked to see the triple. The guy is just starting to just run the bases like nothing, stealing bases as well. But I mean, 2 off of Logan Webb that possibly, I mean, it was a home run and out of every ballpark besides
29.
Oracle in that last game. It just shows what he's capable of doing against a lot of pitchers in the game, that like Garrett Cole, for instance. Corbin Burns is another one. Logan Webb's up there as a Cy Young candidate. So seeing him hit it off a pitcher like that shows a lot of thing about this guy in the month of June, because honestly, this month is his month.
Absolutely. When, like I said last week, when the Carne Asada heats up, so does Ronel Alvarez.
Which it could look like he might be hosting again. We don't know. We don't know.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned. But another guy that's been in the other side of the dugout is Mauricio Dubon, and this is his first time returning back to Oracle Park in an Astros uniform since being traded, I believe, in 21 or either 21 or 22. Don't have it on the top of my head right now, but a little bit of welcome back party for him. 4 for 11, 2 doubles. Doobie being able to continue hitting with runners in scoring position is another big aspect of this game, of him being a utility player. And he was usually used in the outfield a lot, center field and left field throughout this whole game. And he even was in first base in the first game of this series. If you stayed up till watching the game in that extra innings, Joey Luperfido got moved to left field and Mauricio Dubon moved to first base. So just what it shows right there, being a utility man for a good team like this, which I really, I want to know how many gloves this guy takes on a road trip. Like, because you would think like he would be taking his first base mitt on the road when you have 2 first basemen.
You think he even owns a first baseman? You think he uses a Braves or a? I mean, it has to be a Brave.
Nah, he has a first baseman. He has a first baseman. I've witnessed seeing the gold patch on that glove. So
Oh, there you go. Oh well, yeah. I mean, he did win a Gold Glove. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if like utility Gold Glove came. You're right. Maybe like a glove for like every position. So your first baseman glove, your outfield glove, and the infield glove for
But
sure.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I mean, the guy's usually an infielder and outfielder, doesn't play first base. And this year, I'm pretty sure he probably like contacted Rawlings real quick. Hey, I need a first baseman. Make sure you still put that gold patch on there because I'm still gonna need it.
I'm sure it's in his bag with a softball inside of it, so it doesn't get flowery. So I'm sure he has it. But Dubon came with the Astros in 2022. Just research
22.
it right there. Yeah, too.
And that year they did win a World Series ring. So Mauricio Dubon just joined in time to be the first Honduran to get a World Series ring. But to end the recap of this Giant series, let's show a little bit of love to two guys in the bullpen, and that is Seth Martinez and Taylor Scott.
They kind of look
We
alike.
Yeah, they do look alike. They like what's that episode on The Office when they show the pictures of like show me the difference between these two people? You don't see the difference in the two
Dang.
pictures.
Yeah,
You know
like
what
I
I'm
know.
talking about? Which
Yeah, yeah,
episode? It looks like you're thinking hard about it.
yeah. Yeah, man.
That's the one
I
with
know,
Pam Beasley.
I know the scenario, but is it like when it was the Asian gym and the regular gym? Like,
I think so. It was either that or when Dwight was saying the difference between the cannabis with weed
oh
in the
yeah,
sick.
yeah.
It
There
was
you
one of it was either that one or I forgot which one too. But yeah, like you said, Angel. I mean, them two guys look alike when you kind of look at them closely. But let's give these guys
go.
some flowers because the way they've been pitching for the Astros bullpen has been really great, especially losing guys like Ryan Stanek, Phil Maton, Hector Neris. A lot of Astro fans didn't know what they were going to get in Seth Martinez and Taylor Scott, especially Taylor Scott being with so many teams and that ERA being so high. Um, Being in the Astros uniform just testifies to show what this pitching staff just does to fix you up. But on the road trip for both these guys, let's start off with Martinez real quick. He carries a 2-2 record with a 198 ERA. He went 3 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 run allowed, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. Taylor Scott, on the other hand, same record as Martinez, but with a 160 ERA, 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, no earned runs allowed. To me, if Taylor Scott continues pitching like this guy got to get some love into a ballot being that All-Star game. Usually relievers would be the closers to get that role for the bullpen in an All-Star game, but Taylor Scott, the way he's been pitching with the 160 ERA and what he's done for this team, especially pitches so many innings. I mean, he's looked really good. He even pitched in the 7th inning in his last outing. I want to say in game 2, it was Scott, Abreu, and then Presley in game 2, getting that win against the Giants. So seeing these guys being able to step up in a big way in the bullpen, even though they do have that back end in the bullpen, which they haven't been performing like a lot of people have been hoping for, just shows how strong the bullpen could be if everybody collaborates at the same time.
Yeah, and he's already at 34 innings pitched this season, and last year he pitched a total of 43 innings exactly. So again, this is kind of like I think he's kind of taking on the JP France Hunter Brown role, where it's just gonna have to roll with him in the bullpen, and you know anything he can give you is a plus for sure. And then also like another guy who had a really great outing today, Sean Dubin, pitched 2 innings,
Yeah.
allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and 2 innings of work as well. So, that's another guy. Like I know he's been kind of up and down with Sean Dubin and Mashinsky, kind of like both been bouncing around between the minors and majors. But that's another guy who the Astros are going to need big to step up.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of arms here and there. I mean, there's still no update with JP France yet, as well as we've already know about the others. But being able to step up like that in a huge way when you're needing guys to save, especially when Framber Valdez, I mean, it was just not his day. 4 innings of work, he threw only 59 pitches. That both of those are career lows, I want to say, for Framber. It was just not his day. The Giants were just attacking the sinker. Framber Valdez too. We talked about it as well that he wants to be perfect. Both guys between him and Webb were trying to do the same thing. They both had the same similarities of getting the ground ball percentage, being Framber being one and Webb being the other. But with Framber, I mean, his sinker the Giants kept attacking and attacking and attacking. Joe Espada took him out with 59 pitches because Giants hitters were reading that sinker, reading the mix that he was throwing, and Seth Martinez did come in and did a great job getting out of those innings.
Yeah, one thing that like you said, they really did is lay off the sinkers that were low and away, and I guess kind of watching Logan Webb pitch is kind of like helped that out. I'm sure. Like I'm sure they saw some video of Logan Webb comparing Framber Valdez and see that rotation as well. So because I mean he threw 23 pitches out of the zone, and really none of the sinkers that were out of strike zone were swung at. There was only a two that were kind of borderline that were swung at. Other than that, they laid off of him. And I'm looking at his like zone chart. Most of the sinkers that he did throw were in middle, like right down the middle, basically. So
Yeah, in the strike in the middle part of the play, basically.
Yeah. Like there was, I kid you not, like maybe 5 good sliders that were borderline right there first, like, thrown for strikes. Other than that, they were not so good.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time too, you just got to tip your hat to the hitters. They did their scouting report on Framber. They were able to make an adjustment and do what they had to do to get him out of the game. But like I said, I mean, this series very winnable. The road trip, it should have not been 3-3 for the Astros. I if you even asked them that, they probably would say the same thing. At least the road trip would be 5-1. It could have been 6-0, just depending on what happens if that ball that Alvarez hit in the gap off the wall, because that was a 2-run. That was an RBI for him, an RBI double. But if he would have hit that one out, it would have been a 2-run shot, and then it would have been a tied ball game at that point because the Astros did lose 5-3 to the Giants in the series finale.
Okay.
But got to take care of business against teams like that, especially because this whole month you're facing teams with under 500 winning percentages besides the Baltimore Orioles. You still got Chicago White Sox. You still got the Colorado Rockies. You still got the New York Mets, as well as the Detroit Tigers coming up, which we'll have that preview here in a couple of minutes. But let's turn on to real quick with the bullpen. I mean, we've already talked about Taylor Scott. We talked about Seth Martinez. We'll talk about Ryan Presley here in a minute. But the fact of closing out games, that's been kind of the Astros' struggles throughout the whole season. No doubt about it. The bullpen has blown 12 blown saves this year. 16 losses have came from the bullpen. Andrew, you want to give me the first 2 teams that, well, there's one team that's tied with the Astros, but then there's another team leading in that category for 16 losses from the bullpen. You want to give me a shot? Who it is?
Maybe the A's, White Sox, Miami.
Basically, all the teams that are not doing too good, basically. Yeah, the White Sox lead that with 20 losses from their bullpen. Next up, being tied with the Astros at 16 is the Chicago Cubs. So tough time to be a Chicago fan if you want to be on that list.
They just added Jorge Lopez, so hopefully that turns their, that unit around too.
Yeah, definitely. But let's real quick go back to Ryan Presley's outing in Anaheim. He did have that 2-run lead in the 8th on Sunday's series finale. Did not go as planned. A lot of pitches were in the middle part of the zone, hanging as well. He only finished 2 1/3, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. We already talked about Presley. He came back in the next outing and bounced back, getting a save. But this time it was Rafael Montero. He was just the guy that did not close out game 1 of the San Francisco series. That one right there, I feel like it had to be tough for the Astros because you did not just score 1 run, but you were able to score another run, which the Astros don't have that tendency to continue doing that. If anything, they'll probably score maybe 1 run in that extra inning rule, and they were able to scratch 2. But Rafael Montero, this was his 3rd day pitching out of the bullpen straight. So I'm not making an excuse for him or anything like that, but I'm just telling you what was happening. He came out 3rd day consecutively out of the pen. All the pitches, though, he thrown just hit hard contact off of him. He did make an error, which really didn't help to his advantage. That's why PFPs are so important when they're on the field during the pregame, working on that. If you don't know what that is, as pitchers fielding practice. But like I said, made an error on his end. Jerry Pena also made an error on his end as well. And they were only able to record 1 out of that inning. If you would have told me with a 3-1 cushion, runner on second, no outs, Rafael Montero coming in because he's been pitching really well this season for the Astros, I would have been like, okay, well maybe he got it down. Well, just did not happen. Like I said, he only recorded one out with the situation too that the runner on third didn't even know that he was supposed to go home. I don't know if you saw that replay.
Mhm.
Runner on third kind of like shuffled to home, and then he shuffled back to third because I don't know if he thought it was a forced play at home plate. It was bases loaded already at the time. Dubon too, what he could have done was tag Soler at first and then throw it at home. But that is baseball for y'all. On that part of it. Like I said, two games right there that were very crucial for the Astros. Could have been 5-1 on the road trip. I got to ask you, Angel, because I did tell you about mental aspect of the game. Do you think this is a mental situation for both these pitchers, or could it be the rest days? Because, like I said, pitching 3 days out of the pen, I know it could be fatiguing in your arm as well as fatigue mentally as well. What do you think? Is it a little bit of both? What is it?
I think it's a little bit of both because yes, rest days are crucial, but there's plenty of other teams who have relievers in the same situation where have relievers pitching consecutive days or even 3 days, and yet they're still getting the job done. I think with the Astros is like I've been saying, it's like they know where they're at. They know they've been struggling. They know they've been trying to get right. It might be just a situation where trying to be too fine, and sometimes that doesn't work out. I think with Montero this outing, it's just he just didn't have it that day. And yes, he threw 19 pitches in the first outing. He came in like I think it was 19 pitches on June 8th, then 8 pitches in June 9th, and then another 15 pitches uh that same inning. So that gets taxing because you're thinking 8 pitches. That's not a lot. Well, they also warmed up to get ready. They also threw it like in between innings to get ready as well. So it's like all of those things kind of add up, and they also go warm up before the game too. To get ready to get loose. But it might be just a little bit of both of the rest days and the mental situation because again they know where they're at. They're trying to be a little too perfect to get the job done, and yet sometimes when that happens, things don't go your way. You tend to kind of mess up because you're trying to be so perfect. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents there.
It was interesting to me because when was it? I think, and that was game one of this series against the Giants.
Hmm.
Spencer Arrighetti, like I said, 99 pitches, tying a career high. Didn't go for 100, didn't go for that last out. Joe Espada said, you know what? I'm going to pull him. He's already high in his pitch count. Let's bring in Seth Martinez. And sure enough, Seth Martinez locked down that inning, got that last out. And next thing you know, Taylor Scott comes into the game. And I thought or I think it was Taylor Scott that came into the game. I'm not 100% sure. I'll check right here. But I would have thought that Joe Espada would have let Martinez kind of go through that next inning, just since he only pitched about. I don't have it here, but I'm in the Anaheim series because he did pitch Sunday, and he only threw 15 pitches, 8 of them were strikes.
Hmm.
Okay. Now going to the first game of the Giants series, which, like I said, he did record one out for the Astros. He only threw 2 pitches,
Two
and 2 of
pitches,
them
yeah.
were strike. What I would have thought in this process was give Martinez that inning because the next inning I was right. Taylor Scott did pitch and he pitched 2 innings. And then Josh Hader came in and it was a tie ball game, but Joe Espada still went with Hader to throw in that inning. And then Montero came in because Hader did throw back to back nights as well. So
Eh,
I,
like
I,
and
I
then
don't know. Go ahead.
no, and my thing is what I've noticed Joe Espada do that I kind of don't agree with is
That was going
bringing
to be my
Josh.
question.
Oh my bad.
With
Uh,
the like the coaching aspect of the situation, you think it's kind of like overcoaching at that part, or I mean,
well, I was gonna go. I mean, kind of similar, right? So
mhm,
there's been plenty of situations where really Josh Hader does not need to be in the game or does not need to throw 2 innings, and I think this is part in a tie ball game. I understand you want to preserve the lead, right? I understand the reason why he's there is to not allow any runs to give you one more inning of work, like to get you to extras to get you where you need to be.
mhm.
But at that point, I agree with you. I would have called either Seth Martinez there to pitch the ninth inning. It's not a safe situation. And then if your offense scores, especially since you're the visiting team, because you need you're gonna have the opportunity to score first. that's when you called on your best guy, which in Josh Hader, he would grab the 10th inning and pitch those 3 outs. Because I think, and the thing with Josh Hader is he's a strikeout guy. So
Mhm.
you already start with a runner on second base. I mean, that's advantage offense. I mean, they can say, but if you strike out the first guy, it now makes it a little bit harder to get that guy in. So I just think there's been plenty of situations so far this season where Josh Hader does not need to be in the mound. Really, either tie ball games or they're down like 2-3. They're down 2-3 runs, and then he's not available the next day because he just pitched those meaningless innings the
I
day
mean,
before. So yeah, so
yeah, because I looked at Sunday real quick. I looked at Brian Abreu, how many pitches he threw because he didn't even throw in that game either. He only threw 26 pitches. Josh Hader in that same game as well in Anaheim. This is the series finale, that last game over there. Pater did pitch 15, had thrown 15 pitches. So that's where my part is like, okay, well, if Seth Martinez threw 15 and Josh Hader threw 15, you're throwing Josh Hader again in this game, and you're only allowing Seth Martinez to throw 2 pitches here and then let Taylor Scott get 2 innings of work. Because if I go back and see how many pitches Taylor Scott pitched in that 2 innings, Scott pitched 29. And you're telling me the way Seth Martinez has been pitching, we've already gave you the stats earlier in the show. You're telling me that you don't think Seth Martinez could get those guys out with a minimum of at least 20 or 25 pitches? Like, I don't think, like I said, Joe Espada, he could be over managing at times. But in that situation right there, knowing that you have a bullpen that's kind of not depleted, they did on, because you remember, first game in Anaheim, Framber Valdez has a complete game. Thursday, they had an off day. So you had 2 days of bullpen work that was not thrown. Hunter Brown the next day, they only threw 3 guys. I think it was Montero. Let me see real quick. Let me go back because Hunter Brown did throw 6 innings. It was Rafael Montero, Brian Abreu, Ryan Presley, and Taylor Scott, which Rafael Montero did get hit off of. And it was 4-1 whenever Montero did give up that run. So I don't know if it's over managing. I don't know in the situation if he has a little bit of faith on another player than the other. I don't know what it could be. I'm not a coach. I've never been in a coaching position to make the call like that. But just seeing it in my point of view, in being behind the glass, being in front of the TV, I thought he would at least give Seth Martinez that 1 inning. It would have been 1 1/3, and then Taylor Scott, and then after that, you don't know what could have happened.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Like a lot of if, ands, or buts, right? But I think the Astros kind of shot themselves in the foot this roads 2 road series again, beatable teams, both the struggling Angels and Giants. And I just think in that first series, that first game with the Giants was crucial because you knew who you were getting that third game, and a rubber match could have been right. Logan Webb, Framber Valdez, and honestly, this season, if you were to put those guys in between them, like I'm taking Logan Webb. I think he's been more
Yeah.
consistent throughout his career as well, and this season as well. So that kind of gave the advantage to the Giants, and it didn't help that Framber Valdez didn't have his best stuff. I mean, that's what they could, like, if they go toe to toe, match each other. I think they actually had a good chance, but it's just Framber Valdez didn't have it today.
Yeah.
But I guess time to move on to the kind of side. I move on to a little positive note, and it's a packed house today. Everybody's bringing something. Yordan Alvarez will be hosting it for back-to-back weeks. Again, it's been the month of Yordan for sure. He 4 for 13 this series, 3 runs, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, a triple. He hit for a series cycle as well. I didn't notice that he had every possible hit you can get this series and almost had 2 home runs. Honestly, like you said, that's like it's crazy that the ball that traveled the most wasn't a home run. And it's just like that just goes to show to the dimensions of Oracle
Not just
Park.
not just that, you hit it at the wrong side of the park too. Like
That's
Yastrzemski too.
that's easily in the McCovey Cove for sure. Someone's diving for that ball if he pulls a little bit more. But yeah, he's gonna be hosting it. He's gonna be bringing some. Let's see, what sounds good today. Maybe
We
some.
we, we already had you said barbecue the last time or some
So
ribs or something like that.
let's do some fajita quesadillas this time
Okay, we'll
around.
do that this time.
So who's gonna be bringing the tortillas? Gonna be Ronel Blanco, 6 innings pitch, 4 hits, one run, one walk, 8 strikeouts. Like Lorenzo says, 7 quality starts, which is the team lead in that category. Who's bringing the cheese because you know they can have some good quesadillas, but you have to have that Oaxaca cheese, the one that melts, really good. And
Man.
I know this guy only had 2 hits, but it's gonna be Jon Singleton, and I kind of want to start. I kind of want to start like conversation with this one too,
Okay.
because Jon Singleton didn't play at all in Anaheim. I know he had some family over there, so kind of like sucks for him that he didn't get to play. And he only played in 2 innings. I mean, sorry, played in 2 games this series with the Giants. But he has looked good so far. And something that caught my attention is I know Jose Abreu has been getting the majority of the reps at first base, but if you notice about Espada's lineup construction in today's game, he put Jon Singleton cleanup hitter, right, fourth, which he deserves. Like I'm not saying that was a bad spot, and then he put um, Jose Abreu towards the bottom of the order. That tells me right there, Espada knows who's playing better,
Hmm.
right? Because if he didn't believe in Jon Singleton's ability to hit the ball, he wouldn't have put him cleanup. He would have put him near the bottom of the order with Jose Abreu. So that kind of has me scratching my head as to why Jon Singleton is not seeing action a little bit more at first base because he DH today. I think defensively, Jon Singleton is a better first, like defensively wise, is a better first baseman.
Well,
Right,
I don't know if you
right,
saw that play yesterday
yeah,
that he made at first base. I mean, that was down the line if he doesn't catch that.
absolutely. Yeah. So it got me scratching my head. I mean, if they want to put Jon Singleton and Jose Abreu both in lineup, that's fine. By all means, do so. I think Jon Singleton has deserved that, but start him at first base. I mean, like I don't know what your input there, but I just think Jon Singleton has done enough to be a constant in that lineup.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you on both. Um, to me, I think a spot is just still trying to roll with Abreu, trying to get his confidence
Yeah,
going and all that. Understandable, but at the same time, too, it's kind of like we talked about before. You're on a short lease of
it's crunch
games
time.
left. Yeah, you got to start winning now. You just can't think of people's feelings. And I understand that he wants to get his confidence going, but at the same time, like you said, crunch time. I mean, the Astros are. It's already the month of June. Next thing you know, we're going to be in July. All Star Game is going to be here. Trade deadline is going to be here. It has to start now. And the way Jon Singleton's been swinging the bat, there was even one of the games that he had a line shot to right field, and then a lot of people were wondering in I think it was game one when there was runners on. I think there was 2 runners on, 2 outs, and Jose Abreu was up to plate in one of those at bats in the ninth inning. And Espada said, "Yeah, I'm going to give it to him because it's confidence." At the same time, it's like Jose Abreu hasn't been really getting that constant role of hitting the ball like how he was. And we talked about it too. In this second stint of Jose Abreu, he has to show that he has to hit the ball every single time he comes to the plate. And sure enough, I mean, a tweet from Brian Lalima, who works at Sports Talk 790. There's a tweet from him. He says, since his return from West Palm Beach, Jose Abreu is hitting 167 for the season. He's hitting 124. And then he adds on his opinion and all that stuff. So just goes to show right there. I understand and I know what he's trying to do, but at the same time, too, the guys need to win. If the Astros are going to continue wanting to make their push for the postseason and making at least a push for the wild card, because they're still in good position for the first place in the AL West. But if they're going to still continue making a push, they got to make the right moves right now. And right now, too, I didn't understand why he didn't put Joey Luperfido to play at least one of those games too. I thought Luperfido would have had one of those games in a DH role, in an outfield role, because too Chas McCormick too has been struggling for the Astros.
Yeah,
So that's my opinion.
and then I know like we work with people who cover the Astros closely. Like one of the arguments that I've heard from them is they wouldn't do the same thing to Alex Bregman what they did to Jose Abreu in demoting him back, and I was like, yeah, 100% they wouldn't. And the reason is because Alex Bregman can get hot any day
And he's doing it right now.
of the weekend, yeah. And like and like you said, he's doing it right now. He showed he can. Right now, I don't see Abreu getting hot anytime soon. It's like, yes, I know he had that hot stint in September, but that took September for
And that was last year too.
and last year. That's what I'm saying. he went the whole season below par, and then September he got hot for 1 month at the end. I mean, yes, great time, perfect timing, right? And they gave the Astros the division title, but right now this team doesn't have the same reinforcements to kind of carry the load that Jose Abreu lacked. I think now this year, Jose Abreu has to be one of the guys that brings the Astros to the top, like puts his part in. And right now, unfortunately, either it could be the mental aspect, physical aspects. We don't know. We're not Jose Abreu, but he's not doing what he has to be doing. And I think it's time. Like I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's just you got to give Jon Singleton a little bit more reps than what he's been seeing.
Yeah, real quick, let's go through the list, and then I got another question to follow
Go
up
ahead.
with you.
Okay, so who's gonna be bringing the beast? It kind of says to be Alex Bregman, 4 for 13 as well. Similar numbers as Yordan Alvarez, 1 run, 2 RBIs, and then someone who's been stepping up wherever you put him, Mr. Utility, Mauricio Dubon, as well. Had a really great homecoming bounce back. He played against his former team and did pretty phenomenal. 4 for 11, 2 doubles, so pretty good. But go ahead and shoot your question.
Yeah, I was shocked too to see Alex Bregman play. As soon as I saw him in the lineup,
Yeah,
I'm like, oh shit, he's playing for the Astros in this game after getting hit in the hand. But back to the question of Abreu and Singleton and all of that come into play is okay. Well, what do you do if you are in the Astros shoes? Do you just say, all right, we're DFAing him, we're gonna eat the money that we owe him, or do you just sit him on the bench like for so many games until like basically how a catcher is, if you're like William Contreras, you play so many times and then you get a day off. And that day off, it's usually the back of that place for him. Do you give that a treatment to Abreu? Do you DFA him? Because we've talked about it too. Like what's that leash gonna look like for him to continue staying with the Astros? Because right
I
now,
wouldn't.
looking at it, is like I'd give it to maybe this is saying me, maybe the end of the month. But and I've been one of the guys really firm on Jose Abreu getting back on track because he has been that guy over there in Chicago. It just hasn't transpired over here to Houston in this year. But I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as the designate for assignment. Yes, he's been struggling, but he has shown glimpses of that he can get back on track. Before he went to Florida, he had no home runs, and after he has two. For example, right? I'm not saying home runs are everything, right? I mean they help the club win, right? But that's just an example. What I'm thinking, and when I say about giving Jon Singleton the majority of reps, is based on matchup wise, right? The coaches know who's going to be pitching uh, in the game. Say there's 2 right-handers and 1 lefty pitching. So give Jon Singleton those 2 starts against the right-handers, put Abreu against the lefty, right? Or platoon them. Maybe they alternate games depending on who's pitching too, right? So I'm not saying leave Jose Abreu completely out the mix, but I'm just saying that Jon Singleton needs to be playing a little bit more. So like if that's either one game off, one game, take a game off, play one game, back to back, or let Jon Singleton play the majority of the series. If it's a 3-game series, Jon Singleton twice, or Abreu one. Because him being on the bench is not. I know the Astros are preaching about him being back to form, but being on the bench is not going to help him like get back to form at all. And if they still do believe in him, they're going to give him the reps. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's time to win, and you need to win. Like you dug yourself in this hole. They're 8 games out of first place now, so I'd say go with the best 9, but also mixing in, you know, guys in, or like for example, if he's not, if there's a 3-game series, Jon Singleton plays all 3, put him to pitch hit at the end of the game if you're down or you need it. Like maybe they can fresh look out there. So that's just my take. What about yours?
Yeah, I mean, if he has the hot bat, you got to stick with him in that
Mm-hmm.
order. And we've talked about that with Jake Myers and Chas McCormick at that time. If you got a hot bat, you got to put him in. And Jon Singleton right now, like you're saying, the way he's been swinging the bat in this series, and he didn't get a lot of playing time in LA, and it's unfortunate. And I've said it before. You can't just continue putting confidence in him. And I understand what you're trying to do as a coach, but feelings and winning ball games, that kind of just not needs to be in par when you need to win right now if you
Okay.
are the Astros
Yeah,
because you are in third place in the AL West and your season is just going downhill and downhill in each series. Because last year they struggled winning against teams under 500, and this year's been a different story. But you don't know what's going to happen in these next coming series coming up.
yeah, and also, like I know the Astros are worried about protecting Jose Abreu's confidence, but what about John Singleton's confidence?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, like you're giving this guy the majority of the time, but if I'm just John Singleton, I'm like, shit, I'm doing everything I can, and I'm still not seeing the fields. Like what more can I do? You know? So it's just kind of like you gotta worry about all the players, not just one in particular. You know?
Yeah, since we're on that topic too, with Joey Luperfido got called up Friday night in Anaheim. So he was there Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and he didn't get no type of playing time. He didn't get a hit. The kid is hitting over 300 when he's in the majors right now. I would have loved to see him in the lineup for the Astros, just for the fact that the Giants don't even know who he is. They don't know how to pitch to him and things like that in situations. I think it would have been a good opportunity for him to get at least one game in or at least one at bat in. It could have been a difference maker in this series. You just don't know. That's the beauty of baseball.
Yeah. Well, he was DFA'd for
Not
Cesar.
DFA option.
I'm
Option.
sorry, option. My bad. Yeah, option AAA for Cesar Salazar. So that gets me thinking too. Um, I understand the reason why Cesar Salazar was brought up to
Mhm.
to the game because you can't go into a series only carrying one catcher, and obviously Yainer Diaz is not healthy enough to be starting because Carne cut all 3 games. But you don't think a 10 game IL is beneficial for Yainer Diaz, and it leaves Joey Lupita in the lineup, but also brings up Cesar Salazar. I mean, what's your take on that?
Yeah. I don't know about 10-day IL because they just said it was just trying to be minor and it's been his
Mm.
accuracy, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Um, but I agree with the Cesar Salazar thing, and I don't know if I would have optioned Loperfido, maybe Cabbage,
But see, Cabbage
but
just
Cabbage
play.
has been he's been
Yeah.
playing well. He's been playing well. Give it to him. It's just a tough situation all around. Too bad Mauricio Dubon can't be the catcher too in this utility role for the Astros.
I'm sure he has a glove for it too, with a little gold patch.
All right, let's roll with this preview real quick. Versus the Detroit Tigers, they're
Oh wow.
32 and 34, 4-6 record in their last 10 games, fourth in the AL Central because shockingly, the Central is pretty damn stacked between the Twins, Royals, and Guardians. But we're gonna go through this preview real quick because it was 48 minutes already. Friday
Already?
night,
Oh man.
yep, already. Friday 7:10 start time. You probably got the AL Cy Young favorite right here and Tyreek Skubal with the A1 record, 192 ERA. But Hunter Brown says, hold my beer real quick because I've been pitching damn well for the Astros with a 2.5 record, 5.58 ERA. Skubal real quick, last start versus Milwaukee, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. Last start versus Houston, 6 1/3, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. He has given up a total of 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. That's how dominant how this guy is for the Tigers.
He's the real deal.
He is
He's
the
the
real
real
deal.
deal.
And when people were saying like predicting like their preview for the 24 season, who's going to be Cy Young, I saw a lot of Skubals, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know about him that much. And I looked up, and his last second half of the season wasn't that bad, but I didn't think he was going to trend to this direction, especially with the offense that the Tigers have.
Yeah, I think he's the only starting pitcher with a under 2 ERA, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
I think so. I want to say. But if you're looking at that real quick, let me move on to Mr. Hunter Brown because he will be pitching against his hometown team, the Wright State alum. His last start versus the Angels, 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. His last appearance at Detroit was 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Excuse me. The only game he did not start this year, if you remember, that was a bullpen relief appearance for Hunter Brown. He has 4 consecutive quality starts in his last 7 appearances. He has a 2-1 record with a 3.28 ERA and 43 strikeouts. He has been the real deal for the Astros in these last couple starts. He will look to see if he can make it 5 consecutive quality starts and hoping that he can help his team win and carry a lead to get that first game going.
Surprisingly, Skubal is third in ERA,
Is that through Major League Baseball or is that through the American League?
Major League Baseball. He's second in in the American League. So it's Ranger Suarez with a
I knew it.
181
I know. You see, I
ERA.
knew it. I had it.
He's number one. You got Tanner Houck, 191 with Boston, but Skubal 192. So it's just like literally by like a decimal.
Points.
Yeah, and then Imangana 196, and those are your top. Those are your only four pitchers who are having under two ERA.
You see, who would have thought? Because not
Tanner
me.
Houck was a surprising one, or Imangana too.
You see, I would not even thought that. I would not even thought that as ERA
Luis Gil
leaders.
though is fifth with 204.
So that's what I'm saying. If you told me in the beginning of the season these guys were going to be top 5 in ERA in Major League Baseball,
I
I
would have
would have
laughed
told
at
you
your
that's
face.
bullshit. Exactly.
Yeah,
I would have just said bullshit. It would have been bullshit. Saturday start time, real quick. 3:10 start time for the Astros and Tigers. Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Tigers, 3.4 record with a 3.22 ERA. He'll be going against the vet, Justin Verlander, with a 3.2 record, 3.95 ERA. And Flaherty actually has been pitching really well for the Tigers. I am pretty shocked. It's a pretty good buy that they did in the free agent baseball winter meetings in the offseason. Flaherty in his last start against the Rangers, 5 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. His last start versus Houston, he pitched really well until it can kind of get to the 7th inning, 6 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Just like Skubal has given up a total of 3 earned runs in 3 starts, none in his last 2 previous just now. So you're going against 2 top dogs that haven't gave up a lot of earned runs, and they've been pitching pretty well. These are probably the 1-2 punch for the Tigers in their rotation right now.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he really revamped his career in Detroit, and it's just a plus for this team. And it's crazy with that rotation that they're fourth in AL Central. It's just how speaks how good the Royals have been, the Guardians, and Minnesota. Because wow,
shocking. But the vet, on the other hand, Justin Verlander, last start versus the Angels, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. His last start against the Tigers at Detroit, 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. He's had back-to-back starts, giving up 4 earned runs, a total of 8 earned runs in his last 2 starts. He threw over 100 pitches in both them starts as well. The swing and misses haven't been the big of things, the same thing as the strikeout rate, like how it used to be back then. But at the same time, too, I don't think strikeouts really matter, especially the way that the epidemic of arms have been going down throughout this whole season in Major League Baseball. But JV, on the other hand, he is 1 win away from history from moving into 39th place with 261 wins in his career. He's tied right now with Ted Lyons with 40th at the moment. So Astro fans are looking for a bounce back start for JV, especially in his last 2 starts. That doesn't sound like Justin Verlander appearances, especially for JV.
Yeah, but we don't. Like, I know it's kind of off topic, but you know who else is pitching for Detroit that's kind of revamped his career a little bit?
Casey Mize.
Shelby Miller.
I don't even know who he played for to begin with.
Played with St. Louis.
Pittsburgh?
St. Louis, Atlanta, Arizona, and then he pitched for Texas for a little bit. But most notably with like he got big with St. Louis in 2013, 2014. He was a 15-game winner in 2013.
Was he in the bullpen last year for the Rangers, I want to say?
I think so.
I want to say he was.
Yeah.
Well,
no, for the Dodgers. For the Dodgers.
Oh, for the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was a starter to begin with, so
it
doesn't matter. Sunday start time, 1:10. Kenta Maeda is pitching for the Tigers, 2.2 record with a 5.89 ERA. He'll be going against Mr. Spaghetti himself, Spencer Arrighetti, 3.5 record with a 5.33 ERA. This is the battle of the 5 ERAs. We're going to see who's going to take that win and add a win to their record. But Maeda, real quick, last start versus the Nationals, 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Hasn't faced Houston this year. He hasn't faced Houston since 2021, Angel, when he was wearing the Minnesota Twins uniform. But he's been horrific on the road as a starting pitcher. 15 innings pitched, giving up 5 home runs, 18 earned runs, has a 10.80 ERA on the road away from Comerica Park with a 3.43 opponent batting average, almost with a slugging percentage of 700. Great opportunity for the Astros offense to get clicking against him because I think a lot of Astros fans remember Maeda in a Dodger uniform when Altuve hit that home run to tie that Game 5 World Series.
Yeah, I mean he's been all around, but he has been struggling this year.
Yeah, you could use him for immaculate grid too if you need somebody like him. Spencer Arrighetti, on the other hand, like I said, I'm not going to announce his stats. Last start against the Giants, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. The kid's been doing great for the Astros, and like Angel said, he's been stepping up in a big time way, especially with the injuries that the Astros have been dealing with a bunch of pitchers. But this is going to be a great series. Like I said, under teams under 500, the Astros have been doing really well this year, especially at home too. They've been playing pretty well at Minute Maid Park, and especially with Friday night, Saturday, the weekend, the vibes should be going up the roof, and Astros should be doing their job.
Yeah, I mean it'll be a good series. I would say just similar to the Giant series. Is be a lot great, lots of great pitching. I think it'll be crucial winning the first one. I know it's an easier test when you do have Tariq Skubal going on, but if you can take that one, I feel like the Astros can feel pretty good about winning the series. But if you lose that one, you got to step up with the other two guys.
Especially with Hunter Brown, the way he's been pitching, it looks like a Cy Young guy.
Yeah, I mean, even Arrighetti, I mean, he's been pitching well too. So, I mean, they have a great chance to win the series, and that's what they're gonna need in order to step up. And a big guy that's kind of like been really missed in this lineup is Kyle Tucker. Again, he has not returned from since hitting himself with a foul ball off the shin, but there has been some updates. Let's just run down with the timeline of updates that Lorenzo did a really good job in preparing, and this is for Monday. Per Ryan Taggart, Kyle Tucker still eyeing Friday return. It's feeling better every day. Just looking forward to not have to hobble around and actually be able to get out there and run around and swing the bat and everything. I'm excited about that. It will probably come in the next couple of days. So hopefully I can get back to the field whenever we get back for the homestand. So again, this is Kyle Tucker per Brian Taggart. You know what he said. So like at that point, you're feeling kind of help. I think Astros fans are feeling kind of hopeful to have Kyle Tucker back. Things looking pretty positive. Tuesday, Espada said Tucker's better, but he's not doing baseball activities at that point. Like it's kind of okay, it's good, but the fact that he's not doing baseball activity, it means he has to kind of ramp up before he comes back. On Wednesday, Astros team spokesman said Kyle Tucker probably won't be back Friday, but he is feeling better. Still hasn't done any baseball activities, so it's kind of like I don't think it healed the way they wanted it to heal because on Monday they're very optimistic about it. Right? Friday's gonna be the deadline. He's gonna be back, but then that slowly kind of diminished, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think he probably needs some time. Probably maybe. Who did they play after Detroit? Maybe.
I believe they travel to Chicago.
So
The White Sox.
maybe So maybe the White Sox here is kind of looking more of a realistic timeline, or maybe that Sunday, in Houston. So I mean, it's just you get to see. I mean, like, what's your take? When do you think he'll be back?
Yeah, I don't even think he plays in the Tiger series. If he hasn't done any baseball activities, he hasn't ran. He is off the crutches though, but still haven't done any baseball activities. Haven't swung a bat. I don't see him playing this series. He's supposed to come off the IL too on Friday, but looking at the updates that we were given by Mr. Brian McTaggart, I don't think um he'll be back in for this Tiger series.
Yeah, and then like another guy who's been missing the lineup is Yainer Diaz, and again, just give you a timeline of what's been going on per Brian McTaggart on Monday. Joe Espada said Yainer Diaz could play today, though his index finger is sore and lacking some range of motion. Tuesday, kind of more the same. Diaz said he's getting better, but his sore finger means he still can't play, except for an emergency. That's what Salazar is here. And Wednesday, a little bit more optimistic. Joe Espada said Yainer Diaz is improving and hit in the cage today. He's almost there, 100%. So that's the difference between Kyle Tucker and Yainer Diaz. Obviously, two different injuries, one more severe than the other. But the fact that Yainer Diaz is actually hitting the cage in baseball activities will kind of gives a little confidence that he will be back on Friday to open the draw series. Could mean Joey Luperfido can make a return if Cesar Salazar is option because they're not going to carry three catchers. I don't see that happening. So if Yainer Diaz is back, I'm sure Joey Luperfido could be back. in the big leagues for that. And this is per Chandler Rome as well. Joe Espada said the injured finger is primarily affecting Yainer Diaz throwing and his accuracy, which is big. I mean, because I'm sure if the other team knows that he's having a hard time, they're going to be taking fully advantage of that and sitting all the bases they possibly can, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it from up there from the Astros. There are two big news at the Astros today, and like we mentioned earlier, Joey Lupafita is in AAA right now because they caught their salaries are up, but that's just as an emergency catcher, just in case Caratini. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but just in case Caratini gets hurt or you know something happens to both catchers. But you have any comments on the updates or anything like that?
No, but like you said, it'll be interesting what happens if they'll bring back Joey Lupafito and Cesar Salazar because there's a certain amount of options, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think
So
what is it 5? Correct, if I'm not wrong.
yeah, it's five, and Joey Lupafita actually cannot come back to the major leagues 10 days after being optioned too. So they might bring in maybe I don't know because I don't think they'll bring another arm. Maybe
No,
Greg
I don't think so.
Kessinger,
Yeah,
could be
could be
one.
back.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. But let's go ahead and move on to Round the Horn. I don't know if you saw the Twin City Connect, the Minnesota Twins City Connect jerseys. I kind of like them. I kind of like them.
It's a
It's
vibe.
yeah. So it's Minnesota's all about their lakes and the Twin Cities, and I think they did a really good job of reflecting that. I like the different patterns and the ripple effects on the jerseys to kind of symbolize that water motion and different color the water has. It's shallow, the deeper you go. What really surprised me that I really enjoyed was the hat. That I like. I liked how it has the state of Minnesota. It has the northern lights on top and the sea on
Mhm.
the bottom. I think that was really pretty neat.
Yeah, I think this one was a. How many jerseys have they did for City Connects this year? Was it 6 or
Could be.
9? It
I don't
was
have an
one
exact number.
either or. I'll put them at the top 3 of this year, and you're looking at top 10, top 15 for me of just regular City Connect jerseys.
So we're kind of the same. I do agree. Top three for this year, but I say top 10. Like they're definitely in my top 10. Like if if I were to rank them, I would have to see them all. I don't think I have. like
This is an
uh,
off season kind of thing. What we're gonna do? We're
yeah,
gonna rank our City Connects in the off season, so that should be fun.
yeah.
The
I
next
like that.
one up is LA, which there already has been a leak on
I
their
think it leaks like the
jersey.
Disneyland kind of thing.
Looks
Like
like
I did
sprinkles on a
Pop
vanilla
Tart
cupcake. Yeah,
on the
Pop
Pop Tart,
Tart.
like the
That's a good
strawberry
one.
Pop
That
Tart.
is a good one.
Yeah, I'm not a real big fan of the. I mean, so far the leaks have been accurate for both baseball, football jerseys too. Like the new Texan one, like so far the leaks have been accurate, and I assume this one's accurate too. Again, but if it is accurate, I kind of don't like them.
CTE ESPN.
There you go. Oh, I don't know if did you see the roast of Tom Brady?
I haven't seen the whole thing. I only see like little baby parts of it.
No, because
I need to see the whole thing though.
the CT ESPN kind of reminded me. There was a joke that said, what they told Tom Brady that Giselle was there, but
Yeah,
she was Antonio Brown's +1. I was like, that's messed up.
it's probably one of the best roses ever. Period. Just
I, like
period.
I started watching it today. I got like close to halfway. It was pretty funny so far.
Cold blooded.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly, I don't know, there was the grimace on the mound in New York. He threw the first pitch out for the Mets. I know you were telling me about that, so that's pretty interesting. Like I don't know, like did you try the grimace shake, or like were you one of the ones who tried it?
Nope. Never tried a grimace
Me
shake.
neither.
Never.
Me neither.
Never.
Not well, not even the other one that came out, like the granny shake. Like have we tried the grandma shake? No.
Dude, I
Like,
kid you not. I don't even know the last time I got a shake from McDonald's. I don't even know the last time I got a McFlurry from McDonald's.
see, that's what I get. Like people say, I'm gonna go get ice cream, like an ice cream cone from McDonald's. That's like don't get me wrong, the ice cream cone is good, but I would rather go with a good McFlurry.
Like, you look like an Oreo kind of guy, or you're M&M
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, absolutely. Ugh, yeah, I hate it. Like I hate M&Ms and ice cream and cookies. I don't think they deserve to be in any of those things.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it, but I'm an Oreo guy. I don't mind. Man, I can't really eat McDonald's a lot. Honestly, I just haven't even had McDonald's period in a while. That's not my go-to. Sorry, McDonald's.
I know you're a Whataburger guy.
It's a Waterburg kind of thing. You know, it's
Yeah,
a Texas thing down here, dog. It's a Texas thing down here.
absolutely.
Sorry.
Absolutely. I got you.
But an hour and 5
Oh
minutes of
man.
our show. My gosh, we are sorry to hold you over that time, but we appreciate your time just taking the time out of the day, 10:18
No one
p.m.
left.
Central Time. Yeah, especially we had a good crowd tonight. So shout out to y'all. Also, College World Series, like we said, is coming up tomorrow.
Great
We're
game.
supposed to have a special guest talk about the series, what players to look out for, what team to look out for, what kind of matchups are going to be happening. Especially, I mean, you already having the number one draft pick or top three at least in the College World Series. So we'll get his thoughts on that. Talk a little bit too about the Astros positional wise, what they need to go after since the MLB draft will be during All-Star week in Arlington. So it should be a good one. So make sure to tune in. We'll let y'all know what time we'll have that out. But until then, continue to follow us at our platforms below. Subscribe, follow, hit that like button right here, right now on YouTube. If you haven't gone to YouTube, make sure you go get that subscribe button. Then you won't miss our content from X, from TikTok, from Instagram, as well as our podcast platforms from Spotify and Apple. But Angel, you got anything else before we close it off?
No, thank you for listening and peace.
Yeah. So, like I said, we'll have a time, hopefully either tonight or in the morning, and we'll let y'all know about the College World Series preview with our special guest. But until then, if we don't do it, we'll talk to y'all. Have a great weekend if we don't talk to y'all about it. But if we do, stay tuned tomorrow and get ready for some college baseball.
Absolutely.